I'm bored. Let's see what Chris Gore is giving today. This is a follow-up video. I made a video the other day about that Star Wars girl, Anna, and Chris Gore, and all this nonsense about basically calling out LA Comic-Con 2025 for offering spaces for smaller, more niche audiences, queer audiences, and how they were trying to play this weird game of like, look over here at Chris. I didn't get what I want, so now we're going to make fun of all the diverse panels, even though the two things have no correlation whatsoever. But they're going to try and make it make sense, but it doesn't. If a convention wants to book smaller panels to fill in the rooms, to fill in the space over the course of their convention, that is their prerogative. They can do that. And not every single panel is going to be a banger. Not every panel is going to be full of people. When I saw this video, it just really freaked me out. It's a longer video, but I'm going to try and chop it up a little bit so that we don't have to sit through the boring parts, but it's a longer video. There's some really egregious stuff that happens, so I don't want to waste any more time getting into it. This is a Chris Gore video on Film Threat, which, by the way, putting stuff like this on Film Threat is crazy. It's crazy. This is the reason why they don't want to fuck with you. This is the reason why you're no longer hosting panels at these conventions. This is a self-fulfilling prophecy. LA Comic-Con has no idea what fans really want. So you're going to create this drama. Look, let's just watch the video.
I think it's hyperbolic. Are comparing me to Jimmy Kimmel and being censored and being a martyr for censorship. Nothing could be further from the truth. I am merely a person who went to LA Comic-Con every year, did 3, sometimes 5 panels.
Congratulations.
I didn't know what was expected, but every year I would pitch a bunch of panels. I want to contribute. I feel like contribute something to the nerd community, indie film community.
They don't want you, bro. They don't want your bullshit. It's like if they say no, that's it, man. Like, they don't want you there. You are contributing to the toxicity of the fandom, and they don't want you there. They don't have to give you space. You are not entitled to a panel just because you go there every year. We get the same shit at nightclubs when I work in different clubs and stuff, where you have these people that are regulars at these restaurants or bars or events or whatever, and they think they run the fucking show. You don't run the show, bro. It's not your convention. I don't care. Just because you want to give someone flowers doesn't mean they have to take them. You're not entitled to that, man.
Community. So I try to do panels that are pop culture. I would always invite people, very diverse group of opinions. And every year, 3 panels. I think that's a little much. Okay,
so keep in mind, I want you to bookmark that one. He always invited diverse panels. So when we get into the weeds on this video, understand that he is doing exactly the opposite of what he claims he wants to do when going to these conventions. He's going to do the opposite of it. It's opposite world. It's bizarro fucking world.
But maybe one panel. For the past 2 years, I have been shut out from LA Comic-Con. Maybe they've gone another way. It's fine. They have that right.
Yep.
But all I said on social media, I'll go to my original post.
You're Nerd Jesus and you are being persecuted. Sorry, Nerd Gandalf. There, fine. You're still an angel, though. You are being persecuted.
No, I just...
Don't let the jokes fool you. This is what they do, right? The jokes are them sort of like padding whatever rhetoric they want to push. They feel like, if we drop a joke about it, let's be hyperbolic. Eric July did the same thing. I'm the first one to do XYZ. No, like, we're not going to sugarcoat it. None of that bullshit. You know exactly what you're doing. Nobody's falling for it, bro.
Look, I just said something very simple, which is, let me bring this up on screen. I should know it because I wrote it. But look, I've done 3 more panels every year since Comic-Con LA launched. Also, when it was Stan Lee's Kamikaze.
By the way, if you would have posted this, like if this would have been just in the ether, like you just posted this and you didn't attach anything else to it, I wouldn't give a fuck. I wouldn't care. But you know when I step in when you try to make my community the villains because you didn't get what you think you were entitled to. So you're trying to villainize my community for simply having panels at Comic-Con, which has nothing, it has fuck all to do with you. It has fuck all to do with you. Gay people do not owe you a fucking thing. Queer people don't owe you anything. So when you quote tweet what Anna did, and then you put this out there, You make it seem like it's an us versus them thing when these people have no issue. These people have no fucking problem with you. Have they ever said anything about you? Have these panels ever done anything to you? The answer to that is no, they have not. But you decided to make them a fucking target because you think you're entitled to space. And you say you're not. You're like, oh, it's their right. But look at what you're doing. Look at what you're doing.
Then it was purchased by another group. They changed the name. This is like, I don't know how old LA Comic-Con is. It's old. It's been around. Yeah, 15 plus years. And they were always packed. Unfortunately, this is the second year in a row that all my panels have been rejected. And they were very much in line with panels I've done in the past.
It doesn't matter. It does. Guys, I have to tell you this. It doesn't fucking matter. If a company, whatever it might be that's putting on a convention, decides they don't want your panel to be there, they have every right to do it. It doesn't matter if you're like, oh, my panel fully falls in line with whatever their policies are. Guess what? It doesn't mean anything. Your panel should fall in line with them. Anybody that submits a panel to them, it should fall in line with their policies. That doesn't mean a fucking thing. It doesn't mean anything.
Panels like future indies you must see, ultimate indie filmmaker survival guide, just stuff like that. I applaud LA Comic-Con for their inclusive programming. I just wish I'd been included. And I quote tweeted Anna, that Star Wars girl who's here. Hey, Anna.
Right. And you did that in bad faith. You did it in bad faith. And you're going to prove that in just a second in this video, that none of that means anything. You don't mean that. That was sarcasm. You're not genuine about it, because if you were, you wouldn't be doing this. Because you know why she posted this. She didn't post this because she's like, yay, diversity. That's not why she posted it. You know that. We know that.
Hello. I caught a cold from LA Comic-Con. So
oh, you got the Comic-Con blood. Oh.
I want you to remember that. Cons, in general, are notorious for people getting sick. Because you get people from all over the country, all over the world coming together. Some people have weaker immune systems. Some people are more prone to getting sick, and they get sick at Comic-Cons. It happens. It's something that people deal with when they're there. It doesn't matter. You're going into it. You're taking everything you can to try and prevent it from happening. It's going to happen. She's sick from going to the con. I want you to keep that in mind in just a few moments, because there's going to be a section here where they're going to say something really fucking stupid, and Anna is sitting here sick on the panel.
But
it was kind of my fault because I dressed like Slave Leia, and then Dante and I went to a panel that was an hour long and sat right under the AC that was blasting.
You don't get sick because you sat under the AC.
I know, but I had
that's an old wives' tale. That's not true. That's not what happened.
Well, here's what we got here. It's like, here's gay geeks and where to find them. Very easy. Grind it. There, that panel's over. I've been in that room, 402B. That's a decent sized room.
What difference does that make? What difference does that make? You can find Chris Gore fans here on his channel. You have a channel, bro. You have access to everything. So you're going to be like, why do gay geeks need a panel? They have an app. Why do you need a panel? You have a channel. You have a channel. And it doesn't matter about the size of the room. It's irrelevant.
Afro weirdness and the urban superhero 18.
Dante, you went to that one, right?
What does that even mean?
I don't know
what
like
this even means.
I like that idea. Like Afrofuturism. Like I like that. It's a whole new like subgenre.
And why is it 18 plus?
Yeah, exactly. That's the big question. Why does this have to be 18 plus?
Because you think that anything opposite of heterosexual, cisgender, normative stuff needs to be adults only. But now you have a problem with it. Now they have a problem with it. Now, if you label it 18 plus, that's sus. Why is it 18 plus? There's no appeasing these bigoted attitudes. There's no appeasing it. There's none. If you marked it 18 plus and had the title as men getting together, they'd be like, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. So fucking stupid.
That's the question, though. Trans masculine representation in entertainment. Okay. And queer sci-fi on a budget, DIY world building for indie creators. Now, I don't know. Could you just call it sci-fi on a budget? DIY?
You could, but that's not what the panel is. Why don't you call your panels queer panels? You could do that. You could just name your panels queer indie films. Queer indie films you should watch this year. You could do that because it's your panel. This is the panel that they wanted to put out there. So this is why it is titled Queer Sci-Fi on a Budget. What a dumb fucking question. Why not call this the We Complain About Dumb Shit podcast? Why not call it that instead of film thread or Chris Gore show, whatever it is? Why not call it something else? What a dumb fucking comment.
Why world building for indie creators, and then it appeals to everyone, that includes queer.
Because queer people get treated differently. They get treated differently. If you went to this panel and there were queer people on the panel talking about world building for indie creators, and they specifically talked about things that were important to them, meaning queer stuff, people would go, why didn't they tell us it was going to be queer stuff? It's always both ends of the fucking candle. If we talk about queer stuff at a panel, whether it's labeled queer or not, people would be freaking out. When you explicitly name it queer so that people won't come if they don't want to see that stuff, you still have a fucking problem with it. There is the goalpost for these guys doesn't exist. It gets moved so much, it doesn't even fucking exist anymore.
People, and by the way, I have no problem with any of these panels. None at all.
Oh, really?
None of them.
Really?
Please do them. But what I would do is scale these panels for the audience that is interested.
So this shows you that Chris knows nothing about putting conventions together. Nothing about it. He says he does, but he knows nothing about it, apparently. They give rooms out to panels like this because they have them booked for a block amount of time. And every amount of time that they have booked that nothing is going on in these rooms, it is a waste of money. It's a waste of money when they could be filling it up with panels and events that could offset some of the larger things that are happening, because you don't want to have everyone packing in to one large room where it's a hazard for people, and have a lot of people waiting outside with nothing to do after they paid a bunch of money to go to these conventions. So these kinds of panels fill in that space for people. Sometimes you don't have an option for making it a smaller panel. Sometimes it's like, hey, we have these guys, Queer Sci-Fi on a budget. They wanted a panel for this block of time on this day. We don't have any smaller rooms, but we have a larger room that is empty during that time, during that block of time, where we're doing like a Stan Lee panel somewhere else. So it's a perfect opportunity to put them in there so that way we're not wasting that space, and we're giving them the panel room that they need. That's the kind of conversations that go on about this stuff. It's not about like, oh, we need to scale them up or scale them down. Sometimes they can't. You don't know that because you're not behind the scenes putting this stuff together.
Anna, you actually went to one of these panels. I saw you and Dante.
Yeah,
there weren't a lot of people there.
Like queers writing
and
sports comics.
Yeah, I'll have to bring up your post.
Dante had a better video than I did, but still, it's
I'll go to Dante's.
It was so packed. There was like 5 people there.
It doesn't matter how busy it is. I need to reiterate this. I don't fucking care how many people go to these panels. You don't care. If it were packed full of people, your opinion would still be the same. You would find another thing to complain about. You don't give a fuck, which, by the way, it's really fucking weird. It's really fucking weird that you're there at Comic-Con, you're complaining about these panels because you think there's better things happening. And instead of going to the better things and filming the better things according to you, you spend your time going to a panel with a niche audience of queer people to basically bully them on the internet. That's what you do. That's how you spend your time. It's all for a bit. You wanted to do it so you could come back, get on Chris Gore's stream, and do exactly what you're doing right now. It's awful. It's fucking awful. And you wonder why they don't want you at Comic-Con. You wonder why they don't want to give you a panel at Comic-Con. Shocking. Fucking shocking.
And Dante and I were 2 of them.
Yeah, well, I gotta find Dante.
I literally at one point literally bit my lip because I was about to burst out laughing at the worst like time. Because somebody was giving a talk about how, you know, if they weren't able to transition, you know, and, you know, they were big into sports, and if they weren't able to transition, they were going to delete themselves or something like that. But it sounded so.
Yeah, it's a very big issue. Mental health, when it comes to like self-harm, exists pretty prominently in the queer world, a lot in the trans world, because of this kind of, like, you guys are contributing to the mental and emotional problems that trans people deal with by doing what you're doing right now. We would not have these problems if people would stop treating queer and trans people like we don't belong. If this kind of stuff that you're doing right now didn't exist, we wouldn't have to have specific panels. We wouldn't have to have panels that say queer XYZ. But you guys have all of these opinions about what we should be doing and how our community should be doing things. We don't have to do it the way you want us to do it. We don't have to title our panels what you want us to title it. We are capable of doing things in our own community for the benefit of our community. And if you want to come in and be a part of it, you are totally welcome. But the focus doesn't have to be on everyone else. There are things very specific in the queer community that need to be addressed when it comes to some of these subjects. And the fact that you were there in that space and you thought it was funny that a trans person thought they were somewhere where they could be accepted. You thought it was fucking funny that they were there talking about the mental and emotional struggles they have as a trans person in sports, and you thought it was funny. But it's certainly not funny when you're out saying, not saying them specifically, I'm using this as a general term, when people like this are out saying, oh, trans people shouldn't be able to participate in this, they shouldn't be able to use this bathroom. That's not funny. That's dead serious. But when a trans person is in a space where they think they're okay saying this, which, by the way, just goes to prove that naming these panels queer or trans masculine or whatever they are, they exist for this purpose, specifically for this reason. Because if that person went into a panel with 1,000 people watching and said the same thing, how many people would just laugh because they feel like they're in a room full of people that are going to laugh at it?
It sounded like a bite, right? It sounded like a sound bite. It sounded so, I don't know, generic. And to watch all these out of shape people talk about, sports,
what does that have to do with anything? It has nothing to do with anything. You're sitting on the panel with out of shape people. Shut the fuck up.
I know.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna find the video from that panel, but Anna, you were there. You and Dante were there. What do you think? What were and like I say, there's room for all those panels. You got to scale the room to the audience, and I know for a fact that San Diego Comic-Con will count the attendance of people at the panel. They factor that in next year, so the following year, like, hey,
except for times when they have panels that don't have spaces. I have been part of cons over the years. If there is a panel where you don't know how you're going to fit them in or you don't know where to put them, you put them wherever there is a space available. You don't know that for sure. And you can't even say you do because you're saying that they're not even inviting you into the panel. So you're just making up something that you do years ago.
We did this panel, this many people showed up. We need a bigger room or we need to scale the room smaller. The panels like San Diego pay attention to those kind of details. But
it's not San Diego.
I say do all of these panels. I don't think the panels at LA Comic-Con were gay enough.
So that's really interesting because everyone else here with you feels differently. And I'm not saying that you have to agree with them. I certainly wouldn't want you to do that. But you are platforming them and you're about to make fun of these panels. You're about to sit in the presence of these people making fun of these panels. Are you going to call them out for going and basically making these videos and bullying the people at the panels? Are you going to do that? Or are you going to give them space on your show, on the Film Threat podcast? I think we know what's going to happen.
I'll go that far. But
done it in the parking lot based on that number of people.
Well, but what did you guys think? And I'm going to look for your thing, Anna.
Go ahead, Anna. You
no, there wasn't really that much. Like the biggest panel, I think, was the one that we went to. That was for Craig Miller. And then the ones that they have on the main stage, obviously. But I mean, if you actually go through the LA Comic-Con app and look at all the things that they had scheduled for the programming, it's like, I feel like they were just scraping bottom of the barrel type of panels, which is really bizarre that you got denied considering you would have actually had people in your audience.
No one is entitled to space at these events. It doesn't matter if somebody would have an audience, a massive audience, but the panel is about, let's be racist. They would say, I don't care if 5,000 people are going to show up. We're not hosting a panel like that. Chris Gore has clearly done something, whatever it is. It could be specific. It could be non-specific. He has done something that makes the LA Comic-Con the people that are booking panels not want to fuck with him. That's it. He might know what it is. He's not saying what it is. And clearly you guys don't know. So instead of having your beef with them, you're going to make fun of these panels. The people on these panels have shit all to do with any of this, with any of the stuff you're complaining about. They were simply people that applied for a panel. They were given access to a panel. Why didn't you go around to all of the other non-queer panels and do the same thing? Why didn't you do that? Because you're saying they could have called it anything. It didn't have to be queer, this, that. It could be anything. So why didn't you go around to other panels that weren't full of queer, marginalized people and do the same thing you're doing right now? That's the $1 million question.
Well, I also I try to get diverse opinions get to really remember that one. It was standing room only, and it was Dante. It was you, Alan, Paulie from Latino Slams.
Ripa.
Ripa was San Diego.
Oh, you're right. Gary was here,
he's never been to LA Comic-Con.
right.
And Eric July would not want you using him as a token person on a panel. He would not want you to say that. See, this is what I'm talking about. These guys, again, I'm saying this generally, talk about how everything diverse is done by checkboxes. But then at the end of the day, they do the same thing. Now they're recounting all the checkboxes that they have hit off, or that Chris Gore's hit off on panels. And he's using Eric July as a token. He's using somebody Latino as a token. All of these people become tokens when you simply say, look, I ticked off these boxes. Let's jump back here for a second. When you say I ticked off all these boxes, you are using them as a token. If I go on a panel with someone and I'm there and the panel is a panel full of diverse people, I don't need you to count me as the gay. Don't count me as the gay. Don't go, look, my panel's diverse. We had the gay one. I don't want you to do that. And I don't think anybody involved with any of these groups should be reduced to a token to be counted, to be head counted for diversity, especially in a group that doesn't seem to care about it. Chris Gore keeps saying he does, but this is through the lens of like a white guy who thinks they're doing something by platforming people. Look at how diverse my panel is.
Only, and it was Dante, it was you, Alan, Paulie from Latino Slams.
Ripa.
Ripa was San Diego.
Oh, you're right. Gary was here,
he's never been to LA Comic-Con.
right. Gary, it was Gary. And
it was Gary,
yeah.
Nerdrotic, myself. I think Anna, you were on that panel too. It was packed. If you go to, I've got the footage.
Again, I want to reiterate, I hate to do this. It doesn't matter how busy the panels are. That doesn't matter. The reason for these panels existing is not to appease some sort of number. Sometimes they just want to make sure they have space available for people that want panels during other larger panels where people are going to pack into it. This is like con building 101.
Here of the queers in sports panel. What is okay? I want to see what's happening here. Let me right here. Sorry, there. DA. Like, let's hear what's going on here.
It makes it really fun. So for me, it's just like a really fun sandbox to get to like draw sports and make them dramatic and gay.
Kind of the same challenge for me, except like normally my comics.
In my video, I did a scan of the room, so you see like the entire.
Yeah. This is better.
There's like intimate action, but like
That's a mask. Good.
Of course, there's a mask.
I think
Why are people still wearing masks? I mean, is it
Okay, we're going to jump back now. Anna is sick. Anna, at the beginning of this video, said she was sick. She caught con crud, as they call it, because she was there. She claims it's because I was under the AC. That's not how you get sick. You caught something from somebody else. You got sick from somebody else. So she's sick. This person could have a multitude of medical reasons why they're wearing a mask. A multitude of reasons. I have a friend with alopecia. That friend can't go to these kinds of things without wearing a mask because of having an autoimmune disease. So they can't do that. They have to be safe while doing this. We don't know why this person is wearing this. They automatically are triggered. COVID triggered mask. People have been using masks for years for this reason. Doctors use them. Surgeons use them every day in the hospital. Some people go to these cons. They have weak immune systems because maybe they're getting treatment for cancer. Maybe there's some other reason. They're wearing a mask for that reason. There's absolutely no reason for Chris Gore, anybody on this panel, to call out the one person wearing a mask except to try and shame them when they don't know why that person is wearing it. They have no idea. And somebody on the panel with you right now is sick from going to the con. Somebody on the panel with you right now, Anna, is sick from being there.
The entire. Yeah.
This is better.
There's like intimate action, but like
That's a mask. Good.
Of course, there's a mask.
I think
why are people still wearing masks? I mean, is it a psychological thing? Is it,
Yeah, it's their MAGA hat also. Look how virtuous they are.
Is that kind of what it is?
So now wearing a mask for health reasons is anti-MAGA? Holy shit.
So, okay.
But you can see there's nobody in that room.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
Chris,
All right, we're going to pause there. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. I think I made my point here. No one is fucking entitled to space at these events. No one. I don't care if you go there every year. You're not entitled. They, for whatever reason they want, they can decide not to have you there, and it's totally okay. It's totally okay. Chris even says he understands. So what the fuck are we doing? We're platforming Anna and what is it, Dante, I think is his name or whatever, that want to talk shit about queer people, even though Chris is like, it needs to be more gay. So Chris, here is my advice to you. If you truly believe in what you're saying, stop platforming bigots. Stop doing it. And it's not even to get back in LA Comic-Con. I don't give a fuck if you get back in there. Clearly you care. Even though you say you don't, you do. I don't care if you get back in there. If you want people to stop connecting the dots between you and these folks, you stop entertaining the bullshit. It's really that simple. If that's what you truly want. I don't know if you do or not. Maybe you're just lying to us. I have no fucking idea. But if I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, Chris Gore says it needs to be more gay and it needs to be more diverse. But we're watching a video while Anna and this person, Dante, I don't know if that's his name or not, are making fun of the panel for not being packed full of people, even though they themselves have talked about the fact that it is a niche audience. They've already talked about that. We've already talked about the fact that it's not going to fill up the room. We all knew that anyway. And that was never the metric. That, like, I don't think anyone thought that those panels were going to fill up rooms. Not the big ones. That doesn't mean they don't deserve to be there. We don't know the inner workings and how things panned out. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The reason why, I believe the reason why they don't want Chris there is there's something very specific that we don't know about. But in the broader scope, doing this kind of stuff, acting this fucking way would be enough reason for me to go, I don't want to fuck with this person anymore. I don't want them at my convention. I don't want them on my panel. And you were on a panel with fucking Nerdrotic? Yeah, fuck that. Tap out. Tap out. Time to move on. No way. Yeah, again, you're not entitled, dude. Nobody's entitled to anything. If you want to have a panel there, maybe actually put in the work to talk to someone and find out why, because you're not telling us why. And I have a feeling the reason why is bad enough that you don't want to make it public.